All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You are here on the home of the Slightly Above Average Ship Review. It is Wednesday, the 25th of June, and I am going to do a review here of the campaign ship Preussen. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. We are on Land of Fire in a domination match. We are top tier. There are tier 8s, an additional legendary tier. Looking at the teams, couple of Preussens on the enemy team, Giuseppe Verdi and a Wami B, and some destroyers, including a Shimakaze. All right, I hate to say it. The history of this ship, which was never built, is interesting enough that I want to talk about it, and so I'm just going to let the gameplay roll. Just keep in mind, at some point, I'm going to be cursing out my destroyer. All right, Wargaming's notes say the experience gained at the beginning of World War II prompted a revision of the technical characteristics of ships under construction. That's fantastic. The damage record in the ship by AOR X-Operator is 320,939. And that is on the North American server on Greece. So that is really great. The damage, base XP record is by someone named Sinoba44. These are their names on WoW's builds. So those are both pretty good. This ship has the potential to do a lot of damage, in my opinion. All right, going to wiki.wargaming.net. The initial shell velocity of AP and HE shells is 810 meters per second. The shell weight is identical, 1,468 kilograms. The shell velocity, we already talked about that. The max dispersion, 266 meters. So I don't memorize a lot, but it is pretty interesting. All right, now we are reading from nationalinterest.org. The H-class ships were basically battleships on steroids. The H-45A, 65,600 tons. H-40B, 70,000 tons, which is the same size as the Amato. I believe this ship is allegedly a variant of the H-41. I say allegedly because I couldn't find any evidence of a 450 caliber gun battleship in development. Couldn't find that. I looked at the notes and I can't find that. So whether Wargaming made that up for balance or not, I don't know. But it'll get even wilder than that when I get into the notes. All right, H-41, allegedly this ship, 76,000 tons. H-42, 98,000 tons. H-43, somewhere above that. H-44, 141,500 tons. That is larger and longer than a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. It was going to be propelled by a dozen diesel engines. All right, we're going to leave national interest because I don't like the rest of the article. Moving on to myplace.frontier.com. An article called Debunking the Later H-Class Battleships by Lawrence Wells and David Wells. Version 1.0, we're scrolling down and looking. You know, the H-41 class or H-40 class was supposed to have a low draft so they could fit through some shallower areas. The draft of H-41 was designed to be 11.1 meters and under a full load 12.15. If you are from Europe, you understand what that means. All right, main armament is listed as 8 420 millimeter guns. So remember we talked about those later development ships in the H-class? Scrolling. All right, H-42, 305 meters long, a 19.15 meter draft, so about 7 meters deeper. Again, 8 420 millimeter guns. H-43, the standard displacement of H-43 was over 100,000 metric tons. The full load displacement was 120,000 metric tons. Hold on to your seats. 8 20-inch slash 508 millimeter guns in 4 twin turrets. Jumpin' Jehoshaphat. And of course, the H-44, 141,500 metric tons. The same armament, 20 millimeter guns. The Germans were not buying into the idea of aircraft carriers. They were seeing what Japan did and saying, hold my beer sign. So I'm waiting for when we get those 20 millimeter guns in the game. That'll be really interesting. All right, so we went into the Bravo Cap to help flush out that destroyer. It somewhat worked. We didn't incur a lot of damage doing so because I got very lucky. Anyway, we have come across a very sloth-like Giuseppe Verde trying to hide behind this island. Pardon me, I'm getting all excited. And he's at a terrible angle. But since I had my guns loaded up for a destroyer, we set him on fire and take out some of his AA and secondary guns. I'm going to start radically turning to port so I can get broadside. At first here, I thought he was going to try to ram me. I engaged my secondary battery. We blew one earlier trying to kill that destroyer. Here I'm going to try to go through the side of the bow plate and get some joy, and I don't get any joy on the turrets. But at this point, we are traveling forward faster than Verde can turn. We're going to take some damage from his front turrets, but I now have armor piercing loaded, and I'm about to access the side of Giuseppe Verde. That's why hiding behind an island in a battleship is not necessarily a great idea. There we go, 6 penetrations, 1 citadel hit, and the Giuseppe Verde went from relatively healthy to looking very sickly in a very short period of time. All right, we're shown in my rear end. We get the kill, Arsonist medal, and kill number 1. All right, Awami is out there. We've got just about a little bit less than half our health. We're going to take some damage here, and that's okay. We're going to zoom in on Kaba. And here's the wild thing. At the end of the match, keep in mind, I essentially only damaged 4 ships. If I'm remembering correctly, which is pretty funny. Maybe it might be more than that. Oh, I did. I shot another Preussen right at the beginning. All right, never mind. Scratch that. I forget everything I just said. I don't want to lie, but I mean, we're almost at 100,000 damage, and I've got more than half my health left, and there's only 4 ships to shoot at, but we're going to shoot at them. All right, I just wasted that salvo, hoping I would get lucky. We're going to complete our turn here by going to 3/4 throttle. So you can turn relatively okay in the ship. When I tell you the turning radius and the rudder shift time, you're going to fall out of your chair. All right, we got the front turrets free. We are going to shoot at Iwami. And as you can see, the blue team is starting to roll up the red team. All right, it's really obvious. I didn't know what I was talking about now, about shooting at other ships. I forgot all about this Preussen here. He is going to do something that makes me want to, I don't know, Western Union him some money. I know that's so 1980s. The kids these days use Zelle or something like that. But I'm going to take a look at Kaba out there. He's too far away for torps to be a danger to me. And this Preussen is going to give me the full broadside, and I'm going to take it with 2 separate salvos. And we're going to do some good damage there and some better damage there, and we get our second kill. All right, so at this point, all the enemy ships are in front of me. It's the Kaba and the Awami B. We don't have any heals left because the ship doesn't come with a lot of heals, at least with my build. We only have 1 secondary battery charge left. We blew our sonar thinking that the Kaba would use torpedoes. We get the front turrets out at the Awami B. And we're encouraging our destroyer to shoot at Kaba. Nice Citadel hit there on the Iwami B. High caliber metal unlocked. And we're just going to let this fire burn. Don't use your damage cons in just one fire, even though I do that later. Anyway, we're looking. I think the Kaba might be a better choice for me to shoot at because he just killed the new Tsushimi. He is relatively flat. He's going to flatten out a little bit more. We'll give him all 4 turrets. And we slowed down a little bit and maybe dodged the Iwami's return fire. We took out a lot of the health of the Kaba, making him an easy kill for our teammate. Leaving the Iwami B, we're going to try to get another salvo off. He is not giving us a great angle here, and we are taking fire, but I am willing to do that. And his aim isn't as good as mine, I don't think, so we're up to 164,000 damage. Let me tell you, initially in this ship, I wasn't doing a lot of damage, but that is starting to really change the more used to the ship I got. I would say it is good at shooting at long range. Don't hesitate to shoot at long range, and it's all about the AP damage and penetration, so you don't have to aim above the armor belt with this ship at all. It is a really nice ship, I think, in my opinion, especially if you like snipers. You know, it has the German weaknesses. It catches on fire a lot. Doesn't have torpedoes. Keep that in mind. Anyway, we will line up all 4 batteries and finish off the Iwami, which we probably could have done even if he didn't have a little bit of health left, and thus endeth the match. Look at that. I played for like an hour and a half yesterday, and to get anywhere near this, and I played today, 1 match. It's great. Right out of the gate. All right, Arsonist metal, high caliber metal, 170,821 total damage, 124 secondary battery hits, 2 assisted kills, 2 kills, 3 kills, 3 fires, 2 hits to Citadel, 2 cap defended flags, and an assisted base cap. We ended up with 336,797 silver, 6,100 ship XP, 6,600 commander XP in the Preussen. Here we are at the top of the board, 2 medals, 3 big kills, 2678 base XP. Officially a good game. Especially, I would say, in a domination match where you don't capture a lot of bases. All right, let's go back to the port and take a look at the ship. After a brief message from our host, Wargaming. All right, here in the port, secondary battery mod 2. Your mileage may vary on that mod. Damage control system mod 2. Concealment system mod 1. I think it is a must. And AA guns mod 3. Again, your mileage may vary on this mod as well. All right, loadout. You do have HE and AP. You've got unlimited damage control parties. 2 charges of the repair party, 3 charges of the enhanced secondary targeting, which you could swap out for an observation seaplane, probably a good choice. Catapult fighter, less of a good choice. And you do have 2 charges of sonar, 4 kilometers for torps, 6 kilometers for ships, and it runs for a full minute. We were running the rare battle booster for movement speed and cooldown time. We got the standard permanent camouflage. And of course, the Preussen flag. Moving on to the specs, 95,200 hit points with our build and a 25% torpedo damage reduction. Main battery, 4x2, 457 millimeter guns, 19 kilometer firing range, 24-second reload, 30-second turn time. HE shells 5450 max damage with a 45% fire chance. AP shells 15,250 max damage. 2 sets of secondaries, range of both is 9.1 kilometers. First set of 10x2 128s reloads every 4 seconds. 1,500 max HE shell damage, just a 5% fire chance. Second set of 4x2 150s reloads every 7.5 seconds. 1,700 HE shell damage. 8% fire chance. So the main battery is definitely your bread and butter in this ship, in my opinion. Don't count on the secondaries to do a lot. All right, AA defense with our build is 99. You can see that first set of secondaries is dual purpose. It is your longest reaching AA at to 5.2 kilometers. It is your best damaging AA at 155 damage per second. But I think this is a relatively strong AA suite, in my opinion. Maneuverability 30.9 knots, 1,050 meter turning circle, a 20.4 second rudder shift time. Concealment 13.9 on the surface, 11.7 from the air, 16 kilometers when firing from smoke. Take a look at the stats. We played 17 matches and won 8 of them. Most of the kills with the main battery. We're averaging just under 1 kill a game and 90k damage. The match you just saw was our best match in just about every respect. And that's why you saw it, because I think this ship is eminently capable of dealing damage. Taking a look at the armor viewer, there's some purple, and purple is never bad. But on the other hand, this doesn't look like a turtleback, even though it allegedly was designed as one. Probably for the reasons of balance. Putting the bow back on, you do have a 32 millimeter bow. You've got a not very useful 60 millimeter quasi icebreaker looking bow thing at the front, and a heavier 120 millimeter plate more towards the rear. Torpedo protection is all underwater. Putting on these turrets and barbettes, the turret faces and rear of the turret is heavily armored at 480 millimeters. However, these turrets get knocked out very easily. They get destroyed very easily. And as you know, I discount the heavy armor when it is not sloped. So don't look at this turret profile and think you have nothing to worry about. I got the turrets killed in the Preussen. In probably a quarter of the matches, at least one turret was destroyed. All right, putting this casemate armor back on includes a 380 millimeter armor belt amidships that goes below the waterline. Anyway, that is the armor profile of the Preussen. It's good. It's not great. Again, the turrets do get knocked out pretty easily. I don't have any quibbles with anything on this page, so we'll let Ouija get a pass. Here is our commander, Franz von Hipper, base tray elbow room. Increase the secondary range and shell grouping. We got Enrique Fernandez for main battery and secondary battery range, and Arpeggio Haruna for secondary battery range and dispersion. Row 1, we went with a good day's work. Row 2 with the unique skill Knight's Spirit, which increases main battery damage. Row 3, marksmanship. Row 4, reaching out XXL. The legendary skill, of course, was fight fire with fire. If you were going to use a premium commander, I guess you could make a case for Henry Hyde. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Love to hear what you think about the ship.